My name is Diana Carolina Diaz and I'm going to talk about my professional practices. The title of my presentation is Security and Administration of Business Networks. First, I'm going to describe the project. My project was divided into two parts. In the first part, I shadow an engineer that gives technical and security support. In this case, the enterprise was a bank. And the second one was working with laboratories on the office where I can experiment more with the network devices, configure them, and administrate them. The objective. There are two main objectives in this project. The first one was creating an infrastructure where the correct access control and network communication can be assured. And the second one was to assure the security of the information by giving information integrity, availability, non-repudiation, and confidentiality. The goal was to adjust policies and infrastructure in order to have a network that can be well administrated and it can be secure. There are three main points in the specifications. The first one is network analysis. It's the first point that you need to consider in order to make the objectives. The first one, as I've said, is network analysis, where you need to identify the weaknesses in the network and list all the vulnerabilities in order to work on them. The second specification is optimizing the network. This can be done by monitoring all the traffic with other tools and identifying key points that can be improved. And the third one is the security profile that is going to be applied to the network, which is one of the most important things, but it should be done at last where you have already built and designed all the network. This security profile must be done according to the laws and regulations and needs of the business. The regulations in this case, as I've said, is a bank and they are regulated by Banco de Mexico because they are SPAY participants. When a business is a SPAY participant, they must assure that they have secure channels, they have encryption, that they have data integrity, and that the flux where all the information to the bank flows must be apart from the other communication fluxes. My contributions to this project were mainly two. The first one was to analyze all the network to identify key points that can be improved, and the second one was detecting network flaws and vulnerabilities in order to improve the security profile of the network. The learnings of these professional practices were the teamwork, the network analysis and network design, how to make two network devices interact between them, to implement security appliances, to configure them and to administrate them, routing and switching between the network, creating security channels like VPN configurations, and providing technical and security support. The ethical and professional responsibility. As in this enterprise, you are working with other people's information, like the credit cards and all that stuff when you make a transaction on the internet. You need to be very aware that this is something that you need to take seriously, because you need to provide security during all the flow of this information. It must be confidential, and you need to assure the bank in this case that their information from their clients is not shared with anybody else, and that you are just administrating how that information flows through the network. As a conclusion, it is a high responsibility trading with other people's information, especially when you're working with a bank. And securing a network is an extensive process that you need to analyze first the regulations that the company must accomplish. You need to list all their vulnerabilities, find weaknesses and improve them. Then you need to design all the network, and then you apply the security profile. For this kind of project, it is also need a teamwork in order to give a special security profile based on the needs of the enterprise. And also the knowledge of network bases should be solid to comprehend more complex terms.